Tonight on Y News, Ampatuan brothers Datu Andal Jr. and Zaldy and 41 others were found guilty of murdering 58 people in the 2009 Ampatuan massacre case. The families of the Ampatuan massacre victims expressed satisfaction in the conviction of the main accused after the court's decision. The National Union of Journalists of the Philippines welcomed the conviction of the primary suspects in the Ampatuan massacre as a partial victory. The National Capital Region Police Office provides aerial security for the convoy of the Ampatuan massacre convicts, and the UNTV news team gets exclusive access to it. Good evening. A local court convicts several members of the Ampatuan clan over the gruesome killing of 58 people in Maguindanao 10 years ago. Among those found guilty are siblings and principal accused Zaldy and Andal Ampatuan Jr. Roderick Mendoza has this report.
They are hereby convicted and sentenced to suffer the penalty of imprisonment of reclusion perpetua without paroles.
Relatives of the victims in the Ampatuan massacre finally emerged victorious after a decade of tedious legal battle. In a 761-page decision promulgated today, Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 221 found 43 accused guilty beyond reasonable doubt of multiple murder. 28 were sentenced to reclusion perpetua or 40 years in prison without the benefit of parole. Among them are siblings and principal accused Zaldy and Andal Ampatuan Jr. 15 others who were accessories to the crime were handed prison terms of 6 to 10 years, including the backhoe operator used in burying the victims. They were also ordered to pay damages to the heirs of each victim amounting to at least a couple of million pesos. However, over 50 other accused were acquitted by the court, including Sajid Islam Ampatuan and Ahmad Ampatuan for reasonable doubt. The court also acquitted all the accused in the 58 case for the death of journalist Reynaldo Mumay, whose remains are yet to be recovered until now. Meanwhile, Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes issued alias warrants against 80 accused who are still at large. Cases against them were archived and will be reopened once they are arrested. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue.
The families of the Ampatuan massacre victims expressed contentment with the court's decision on the case released today. But for Congressman Ismael Toto Datu, the battle continues. Nel Maribuhok tells us why.
Justice is served. This is what the families of the victims of the Ampatuan massacre said after the court released its ruling on the case. For over a decade, they have hoped the accused would be brought to justice.
Talagang mahirap yung 10 taon na yun dahil ang tagal nun ilang years yun na tiniis na walang conviction pa. So today talagang happy na ako talaga.
Umiyak kami 4 na taga UNTV dahil alam namin na kamit ng asawa namin, ng mga kasamahan niya yung justice na hinahanap namin.
Ito na yun. Ito na yung justisya na matagal na nating hinihintay. Ito na yung mga sakripisyo ko na ilang taon pinaglalaban namin.
According to Attorney Harry Roque, the representative of the victims, almost all their relatives are content with the court's decision.
Well, nagagalak po ang mga pamilya na 5 sa 7 Ampatuan ay nahusgahan na nagkasala. Natutuwa sila na ang parusa ay panghabang buhay na pagkakakulong without benefit of allowance for good conduct.
Despite this, Roque said they appealed the civil aspect of the case. For Maguindanao 2nd District Representative Ismael Toto Datu, however, the battle continues.
Matagal pa to kasi may Court of Appeals, may Supreme Court. At may 50 na second phase at may mga at-large pang 81.
The wife and the sisters of Congressman Toto were among those killed in the massacre. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
Several groups who support the families of the victims in the massacre case call the court's ruling a partial victory. Despite this, they remain hopeful those still at large will be brought to justice. Joanna tells us why.
The National Union Journalists of the Philippines, or NUJP, Alter-Midya, the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption, or VACC, along with other groups, feel both happy and disappointed with the decision of the court on the Ampatuan massacre case. The NUJP feels satisfied the court finally convicted Datu Andal Ampatuan Jr., the primary accused in what is considered one of the most violent media killings in Philippine history. For Alter-Midya, the court's ruling can only be considered as partial victory. These two Ampatuans and majority of the policemen co-accused in the case were acquitted by the court.
Tagumpay na mayroong conviction. Nalulungkot tayo na marami ang napawalang sala, pero yun ay desisyon na ng korte. Kung natin ito bilang partial victory. Take note po yung adjective na gagamitin po natin. Bakit siya partial? Sapagkat una, hindi lahat ay na-convict. Inaasahan sana natin yung 101 na nililiti sa kasalukuyan, lahat sila ay may conviction.
The NUJP, for their part, once again challenged the government, the accused who remain at large. Even the relatives of some of the victims feel unsatisfied with the court's judgment. They are disappointed that more than 50 of the accused were absolved from the case. Despite all this, they remain hopeful those on the loose will be brought to justice. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
Congressman Ismael Toto Magundadatu expresses thanks to the victims' relatives as well as the media for their relentless efforts through the years in connection with the Ampatuan massacre case. However, he is not completely satisfied with, though he respects the court's decision. Dante Amento tells us why.
The families of the victims and the media who did not give up in the battle, all of them, according to Maguindanao 2nd District Representative Ismael Toto Magundadatu, gave him the courage and motivation to pursue the journey towards attaining justice. Congressman Magundadatu is the main complainant of the case, whose wife, Baig Jeneline, was among the 58 individuals killed and buried on November 23 in Ampatuan, Maguindanao 10 years ago. For him, only 95% of justice they have been yearning for has been given by court.
Yun lang, yung kay Sajid na inaasahan natin na masama sana, hindi nasama. Pero ganun pa man, nirespeto natin yung pasiyan ng judge or decision ng judge.
Magundadatu says he is not surprised if the Ampatuans will appeal the court's ruling. For him, this is not the end of their fight.
Salamat sa media na walang humpay na tumulong sa amin upang isiwalat o anuman yung nararapat laban sa mga taong ito. Hindi kami nawala ng pag-asa. Salamat at may batas tayong kumakagat.
The Solon also thanks Duterte's administration for his promise to have the promulgation of the judgment before his term ends. Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue, Muntinlupa City.
Malacanang welcomes and respects the court's decision on the Ampatuan massacre case. For the palace, what's important is that the rule of law has prevailed. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
Malacanang believes the rule of law prevailed when Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 221 Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes released her verdict against the accused in what is considered one of the worst election-related incidents of violence in the country, the Ampatuan massacre. Some members of the Ampatuan clan are convicted and sentenced to suffer the penalty reclusion perpetua. According to presidential spokesperson and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo, the court released its decision based on evidence rendered by the prosecution and defense camps.
The palace welcomes, as it respects, the decision rendered by Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes of Branch 221 of the Regional Trial Court of Quezon City on the decade-long case where 58 individuals, 32 of whom were media workers, were assassinated in Ampatuan, Maguindanao last November 23, 2009.
Despite contrary views regarding the promulgation, those who disagree with the judgment can still appeal through the Supreme Court.
Those who disagree with the judgments of the court have legal remedies under their disposal. Ultimately, it will be the Supreme Court that will give the final judgment. For now, what is important is that the rule of law has prevailed.
The palace also commends the officials of the executive branch, particularly the prosecutors, as well as the officials who serve as protectors of press freedom and human rights while the cases were still being heard. Malacanang says the Ampatuan massacre should never happen again in the country's history, the reason why President Duterte upholds law and order. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue.
Police have recorded no untoward incident in connection with the promulgation of verdict in the Ampatuan massacre case this morning. Security in Camp Bagong Diwa returns to normal. Lea Ilagan clarifies why.
Right after today's promulgation of verdict in the Ampatuan massacre case, the National Capital Region Police Office or NCRPO conducted an aerial inspection on the route that would be used by the convoy of the convicts. The UNTV news team was given exclusive access to ride the PNP chopper for inspection. After hours of waiting and the promulgation itself, the convoy exited Camp Bagong Diwa in Taguig City. Aside from ground security, the NCRPO also provided aerial security for the vehicles and those on board. According to Bureau of Jail Management and Penology or BJMP spokesperson, Jail Chief Inspector Xavier Solda, the promulgation transpired safely, which can be attributed to a well-executed plan.
Kanina natutuwa kami naman maayos pagdating sa security, maayos na nailatag ng PNP at ng BJMP no. Yung security protocols natin nasunod naman at nakita nyo naman no, nanood kayo live.
Meanwhile, the NCRPO says it did not monitor any untoward incidents.
May konti lang pong nagrereklamo bakit daw sobrang stricto pero na-explain naman po namin sa kanila na para po talaga sa safety ng promulgation ngayon.
The lockdown in Camp Bagong Diwa was lifted at 3 p.m. today. Security within the camp returned to normal. Lea Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I am Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. Bureau of Corrections Chief Director General Gerald Bantag assures Andal Jr. and Zaldy Ampatuan and the other Ampatuan massacre convicts will not be given special treatment inside the New Bilibid prison. Authorities resume hunting down dozens of suspects in the Ampatuan massacre case who have evaded arrest. The Department of Justice prosecution panel is happy with the court's verdict in the Ampatuan massacre case but is quick to acknowledge its work is not yet done. And netizens express mixed reactions to the guilty verdict in the Ampatuan massacre case. Good evening. Bayan Muna representatives want Ampatuan massacre convicts to be jailed in the New Bilibid prison without any special treatment. Meanwhile, a bill seeking to stop political dynasty is being pushed in the House of Representatives. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
After a decade and days of waiting, the verdict on the Ampatuan massacre case was finally released today. Some of the accused, including Dato Andal Ampatuan Jr., and other principal accused have been found guilty of the mass murder. According to Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Zarate, the convicts of the massacre should not be given special treatment and must be jailed without any conditions and reservations.
Doon sa mga convicted na, ilipat na sila doon sa National Believed Prison para i-serve yung kanilang sentence na wala nang pagpatangi, ano?
Zarate also said authorities should run after the accused who remain at large. Though the Makabayan Bloc Congressman welcomed the court's decision, the long process before today's promulgation manifests the kind of justice system in the country.
Ang mabagal na pag-usad ng katarungan ng Ampatuan Maguindanao massacre ay salamin at tanda sa umiiral na injustisya sa ating bayan na pinaghaharian ng mga naghari-harian.
Meanwhile, due to the Ampatuan massacre, House Bill 110, which seeks to end political dynasty in the country, is being pushed in the House of Representatives. According to Congressman Lawrence Fortun of the 1st District of Agusan del Norte, the Ampatuan massacre is a result of political warlordism perpetrated by political dynasty. Ako Bicol Party List Representative Alfredo Garbin Jr. adds that criminal warlords be prevented from running or being appointed to any government post. While according to Congressman Zarate, Executive Order 546, which gives right to civilian volunteers or CVOs to carry a gun, should be scrapped. Zarate stresses the Ampatuans themselves use this EO to justify the existence of their private army. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Authorities ensured the security of the convicted Ampatuans sent to the New Bilibid prison. The National Penitentiary will resume inmate visitation beginning tomorrow. Sherwin Golobong explains why.
The convicts in the Ampatuan massacre are now in the New Bilibid prison or NBP in Muntinlupa City. Authorities had made sure they would arrive at the NBP strictly guarded. Aside from the convoy on the ground, police helicopters hovered over the entire route from Camp Bagong Diwa in neighboring Taguig City.
Okay naman. Mga ilang araw din na nag-prepare kami. May coordination tayo sa Tri-Bureau ng DILG, ng AFP, pati local. At yung usual procedure din naman ng mga PDL na bagong commit, yun din ang gagawin.
Bureau of Corrections Director General Gerald Bantag assures no special treatment will be given to the Ampatuans sent to the NBP Maximum Security Compound.
Pinaka-worst naman, patayan, yun lang naman, tapos na.
Of course, it
diba?
would be worse than
Pinaka-worst yun. Yung pinaka-worst kung sa set up kasi ng isang kulungan, riot, di ba? Sakitan, edi patayan. Wala yan.
The Bucor chief adds, the families of the convicted Ampatuans have nothing to worry about when it comes to their security. The NBP's operation will return to normal beginning tomorrow, including inmate visitation, which has been suspended as part of the security measures amid a heightened alert in the National Penitentiary. Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV News and Rescue, Muntinlupa City.
The Philippine National Police will launch massive manhunt operations against the accused in the Ampatuan massacre case who remain on the run. Even the supporters and followers of the Ampatuan clan will be monitored by the police. Harleen Delgado reports why.
The 10-year journey to justice ended today as the conviction was handed down to most of the principal suspects in the Ampatuan massacre. But the fight is not yet over. The Philippine National Police or PNP vowed to double their efforts to pursue the remaining 80 accused in the 2019 mass murder in Ampatuan Town, Maguindanao Province who remain at large. PNP officer in charge, Lieutenant General Archie Gamboa, describes the conviction as a triumph of justice that sends a strong message: the majesty of the law does not bow to the rich and powerful. Gamboa has ordered the PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, the Intelligence Group, and the PNP in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM to conduct massive manhunt operations against the 80 fugitives. This includes accused dismissed Police Inspector Michael Joy Ines Macaraeg, who failed to appear at the promulgation. Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes issued alias warrants against 80 accused who are still at large. The PNP say they presume these fugitives as armed and dangerous, considering their continued flight from justice. The PNP BARM have been tasked to continue monitoring the activities of known supporters and followers of the Ampatuan clan in Maguindanao province. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The prosecutors in the Ampatuan massacre say they are happy with the outcome of the 10 years worth of waiting for justice to be served. Here's why from Alter-Midya Jr.
After over a decade of hardship, for the panel of prosecution, the court's judgment on the Ampatuan massacre case is worth the wait. For them, they have done their part in delivering justice to the victims of the dark event that took away the lives of 58 people.
As the saying goes, justice delayed is justice denied, but this time may not necessarily be true. It is worth the wait.
With the principal accused being convicted, the panel is happy and satisfied with the decision.
And we are happy with the outcome because the principal accused, all those that we expect to be convicted, have been convicted indeed.
However, the prosecution panel's job is not yet over, as motion for reconsideration against those acquitted will immediately follow.
The work is not yet done. Pagkatapos po dito, marami pa kaming gagawin. Nagpapasalamat lang kami na we've been over the worst fears.
There's some accused who were acquitted who we felt the evidence was strong, and that is the reason why probably after the holidays we will go over the decision and try to see what we can do to probably ask for reconsideration.
Alter-Midya Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, City of Manila.
Many waited for the reading of the court's judgment in the Ampatuan massacre case. Let's find out how netizens reacted to the verdict, which some call partial victory, while others consider triumph of the justice. Aiko Miguel reports.
The entire Filipino nation was all eyes and ears on the historical promulgation of the Ampatuan massacre case this morning. The case proceeded for over a decade. The victims' families have suffered that long. But the 19th of December 2019 will surely leave a mark in Philippine history. Netizens and even prominent personalities expressed various reactions to the court's decision. Former Supreme Court spokesman Theodore Te says today is considered as the judgment day for the Ampatuan massacre. Two netizens consider this day a historical event in the country. According to Ino Monton, this much-awaited promulgation will show how the justice system works in the Philippines. This is also considered as a triumph of the current administration. A netizen on Twitter, on the other hand, expresses discontent that some cops accused in the case were acquitted and that the Ampatuan clan remains powerful in their province. For Jekan, it is cringing and terrifying to know that most of the accused are policemen. He adds this only proves that members of the country's police force are being used by politicians for self-interest and that impunity exists in our country. Some netizens meanwhile commend the bravery of Justice Jocelyn Solis Reyes in handling the year's worth of case. Kayla appreciates Judge Solis Reyes for choosing to stick to the case in the name of justice. According to Korte Supremo, Judge Solis Reyes is brave for her to accept and to render the guilty verdict against the Ampatuans who are the principal accused in the Ampatuan massacre. A decade of waiting. A plot twist considered by some. Guilty verdict for the Ampatuans. Justice for victims killed mercilessly. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. It's public knowledge President Rodrigo Duterte has passion for motorbikes and plans on riding on one soon. But his security group does not advise him to do so. Meanwhile, the PSG say they take the report on the rebel group's kill list, which includes the president, seriously. Rosalie Cos explains why.
Presidential Security Group or PSG reveals President Rodrigo Duterte has plans on riding his motorcycle. This is despite the minor motorcycle accident he met last October. The president also plans to go around Metro Manila on a motorcycle. PSG Commander Brigadier General Jose Niembra admits they do not subscribe to the idea.
In recent days, hindi pa po. Dito lang sa loob ng PSG. But he has a plan to go around Metro Manila on a motorcycle. Kung sa loob lang po ng PSG, pwede. But if he goes out, I think we should advise him na pwede naman but on a secured or controlled area.
As for the kill list, which includes President Duterte as a target of the communist rebels, the PSG commander says this is nothing new to them. Brigadier General Niembra adds the chief executive has been the primary target even of syndicated groups and drug lords. He assures they will spare no effort to secure the president.
We expect that the president is number one in their list. But rest assured, we are doing something to protect the president. Of course, sir, we take it seriously kasi it's not a joking matter, no? Because it's the life of the president and the survival of the country, actually.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, experts say that poor reading comprehension among a number of Filipino students may be linked to the use of mobile phones and other gadgets. Let's find out why from Alter-Midya Jr.
11-year-old Raiden is fond of watching documentaries and educational movies on his mobile phone. Although he still reads books, he admits he consumes more time for watching than reading due to challenges in comprehension.
Totoo nga din po. Iniintindi ko muna bago ko po papasahin medyo mabagal lang.
Raiden is just one of the many students who prefer watching through electronic gadgets than reading paperbacks. According to an expert, young ones resort to visual learning nowadays, which uses pictures, minimal word to comprehend, and encourages one's own interpretation.
Nagbago na rin naman yung learning habits. Isa sigurong dahilan yon kung bakit bumaba yung comprehension natin kasi mas sila na yung nagbibigay nung nais nilang i-interpret rather than the text asking what should be interpreted.
Ranked as the poorest in reading comprehension based on the result of the 2018 Program for International Student Assessment or PISA exam taken by 600,000 students from 79 countries, a high school principal explains students are also challenged with other subjects, especially mathematics. He further explains that aside from using gadgets, there are several contributing factors towards this result.
Isa dyan ay yung class size ng ating eskwelahan sa public school. And dito sa ating school, ang class size is 45 to 50. Kalahati pa yung room. So probably isa po yan. And then, since galing po yan sa elementary, siguro yung habit po nila ay dala-dala pa rin nila.
One of the important skills that individual possesses is reading. This is why the government aims to provide free education to Filipinos because reading is a lifetime skill. Alter-Midya Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
In other news, Indonesia has become the latest Asian country to face an outbreak of African swine fever, a deadly pig virus devastating farmers across the region. On Wednesday, the country's agricultural ministry said nearly 30,000 pigs have died from the disease in North Sumatra. The virus is expected to wipe out more than half of China's pigs herd this year. Although it's harmless to humans, the disease can kill pigs within a few days, and the fatality rate can be up to 100% according to the World Organization for Animal Health. The virus is particularly robust and is able to survive for 7 days without a host and for months in frozen pork products. And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, William. U.S. President Donald Trump blasted Democrats for what he called a very dark era. This after the Democratic-controlled United States House of Representatives voted along party lines to impeach the President of the United States. The first of two articles of impeachment accusing the Republican President of abuse of power was approved by a vote of 230 to 197. James Buntuyan tells us why.
U.S. President Donald Trump said Wednesday that the impeachment articles against him passed by the House of Representatives that will trigger a political trial in the Senate represented a political suicide and a matter of shame for the Democratic Party. His comments came minutes after the Democratic-controlled House voted mostly along party lines to impeach Donald Trump on the basis of two charges: abuse of power and obstruction of the Congress. The articles were approved by a margin of 230 to 197 and 229 to 198 respectively. Trump also commended Republican congressmen for maintaining party discipline and voting en bloc against the articles of impeachment, while 3 Democrats broke ranks and voted against them. The Republicans enjoy a 53-47 majority in the upper house of Congress. And given that it would take a 2/3 majority or 67 senators with a full quorum for the president to be removed from office, the political trial is expected to end in Trump's acquittal. The abuse of power charge stems from an allegation that Trump sought personal political gain this year by improperly pressuring Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to publicly announce a corruption investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden, a leading contender for the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination, and his son Hunter. The other charge claims that Trump obstructed the House impeachment inquiry by blocking officials from testifying and preventing the sharing of federal government documents with Congress. James Bontuyan, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
As the economic situation continues to decline in Zimbabwe, the healthcare system has been crippled by a months-long doctor strike to demand higher wages. This report details why.
On 3rd of September, doctors in the African country declared incapacitation and put down their tools after the Zimbabwe Hospitals Doctors Association sent a letter to the government saying health professionals were unable to continue working unless changes to wages and working conditions were made. Skyrocketing inflation has meant doctors' salaries have lost over 1,500% of their value, according to the association. The health sector before the strikes was already facing a crisis with a shortage of supplies and medicines, as well as having to deal with the consequences of natural disasters such as floods and regular outbreaks of waterborne diseases, according to NGO Doctors Without Borders. As a result of the strike mission, hospitals have been flooded with prospective patients who fail to get care in state-run hospitals. Karanda Mission Hospital in just 2 months has doubled the volume patients it would usually encounter. Rooms are crowded and patients lie everywhere on beds and blue mats covered in stained sheets on the floor. Some people don't even have half-foam mats to lie on and rest on the floor with a thin blanket. The Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO last month said it was deeply concerned over the government's reaction to the strike, which saw 211 doctors fired as reported by the media. The NGO said 509 doctors as of 18th of November had been issued hearing letters, and the organization was making calls for the government to open a dialogue with the sector. Doctors have already rejected an offer from the state to increase their wages by 60%. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
Riot police in Barcelona clashed with protesters outside the highly anticipated Barcelona-Real Madrid soccer match as authorities sought to prevent the stadium from becoming an ideological battleground for Catalonia's separatist movement. Meanwhile, at least 6 people were killed and 40 people injured after a double-decker bus crashed into a tree on a Hong Kong highway. Stephanie C. has the details to this report.
In Hong Kong, 6 passengers were killed and 40 injured on Wednesday after a public double-decker bus plowed into a roadside tree, the impact ripping away most of its roof on Hong Kong's Fanling Highway. Police said 6 people were certified dead at the scene, 3 men and 3 women. The city's hospital authorities said 40 people had been injured and that it had activated its major incident plan in response to the crash. Hong Kong's Chief Executive Carrie Lam expressed her condolences to the families of those who died as well as to the injured and their families. Police will conduct an investigation and detain the bus for a detailed vehicle examination, the department added. In Spain, Protesters have clashed with police outside a Barcelona and Real Madrid football match at Nou Camp in Spain. Thousands of fans inside the stadium held up banners urging the Spanish government to sit and talk with those demanding Catalan independence. Police charged mass protesters who set rubbish bins on fire. At least 46 people were reportedly injured in the clashes. The match, known as El Clasico, was been due to be played 2 months ago, but was postponed due to unrest. The game ended in a 0-0 draw, leaving Barcelona top of the league ahead of Real Madrid on goal difference. And in Pakistan, unknown gunmen on Wednesday shot dead 2 Pakistan policemen who were part of an immunization program in the country's volatile northwest amid a new anti-polio drive after over 100 cases of the dangerous virus were detected this year. The 2 policemen were killed as they were heading to escort a team of medics in the DIR area of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Attacks against health professionals are one of the main obstacles in the fight against the disease in Pakistan. Attacks against health professionals are one of the main obstacles in the fight against the disease in Pakistan. Polio cases have shot up in Pakistan with 104 recorded this year compared to 12 in 2018 and 8 in 2017. Some 20 infections were discovered in 2016 and 54 in 2015. Stephanie C., UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Kath Dumaraos, reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. President Rodrigo Duterte personally met the Filipino athletes who won medals for the country in the 30th Southeast Asian Games. The president commits to allot funds for the training and facilities for Filipino athletes. Rosalie Cos details why.
President Rodrigo Duterte spent almost 3 hours personally conferring Order of Lapu-Lapu Rank of Kamagi Medal to each Filipino athlete who won in the recently held 30th Southeast Asian or SEA Games in the country. More than 500 athletes were present during yesterday's recognition in Malacanang. The chief executive wanted to personally meet the athletes who have made sacrifices to bring pride for the Philippines. The Philippine national team is the overall champion in the SEA Games. President Duterte, in his speech, joked about the almost 3-hour recognition.
Before this would, because medyo mahaba tayo kanina. Kasi itong isang paa ko laylay na. Wala, kakasimplang ko lang sa motor. But sa harap ng mga athletes na grit and walang sakit-sakit. Pero ako talaga kanina mahimatay na ako.
The government rewarded the medalists and their coaches and trainers 117 million pesos incentives through the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation or PAGCOR. This is aside from the cash incentives from President Duterte himself. The chief executive also promised to provide more funds for the allowance, training, facilities, equipment, and other needs of Filipino athletes.
The blood, sweat, and tears that he has shed to earn this prestigious recognition is truly inspiring. I am really very happy to know, and we will try to raise the money. I heard Alan say that we're giving 1 million, 100 million for the Olympic.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
For the families of the 4 UNTV News crew members included in the murder of 58 people in Ampatuan, Maguindanao, this day proves that their son and husband did not die in vain. Harleen Delgado reports why.
V for victory. This was how the family members of the UNTV news team, who were among the victims of the Ampatuan massacre, described how they feel today. Their eyes, which cried tears of grief for over a decade, are now smiling. For Erlene Umpad, partner of slain UNTV cameraman Makmak Ariola, they can now finally say that justice has been served.
Pero nung habang binabasa niya sis yung mga pangalan ng convict, yung luha namin naiiyak, tapos yung saya, sabi ko salamat sa Diyos kasi yung dininig niya yung panalangin namin.
It was mixed emotions for Catherine Nunez, the mother of UNTV News correspondent Victor Nunez, who was also among the slain journalists. While they are grateful for the conviction, Catherine admits they also feel sad for the families of those convicted.
Halong nagkaiyakan po kanina dahil sa saya na nakuha namin ang hustisya na minimiti namin.
Meanwhile, Desiderio Evardo, father of UNTV's Jolito Evardo, could not fully describe his emotions in words as he is overjoyed with the decision.
Ako po, kung may masaya pa, iba ka masaya. Wala nang ibang saya na at tanggap ko. Kaming magkapatid, lahat parang nasa isang area na wala nang iba pang pupuntahan kundi itong araw na ito.
Editha Tiamzon, the wife of Daniel Tiamzon, a UNTV driver buried together with the vehicle he was driving, is beyond grateful for those who supported them all the way.
Kami pong apat sa UNTV, saka yung mga kasama namin, 19 kay Attorney Harry Roque, buong puso pong nagpapasalamat sa buong Pilipinas. Dahil po sa suporta niyo.
Despite the acquittals of some of the accused, Attorney Harry Roque, counsel of some of the victims' families, is glad with the convictions. However, the body of Reynaldo Momay, a photographer for a local newspaper, Midland Review, among those killed in the massacre, remains missing. The court dismissed his family's claims for damages and acquitted all the accused over his death.
Maraming salamat, lalong-lalo sa media na talagang nagbantay at nagbasid, at dahil dito hindi nabaon sa limot itong kasong ito. Gagawin namin ang lahat na magagawa para magkaroon man lang ng deklarasyon na biktima rin ang pamilyang Momay.
Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue.
UNTV has been relentless in reminding the Filipino people of the fateful day when 58 individuals, including 4 of our colleagues, perished in Ampatuan, Maguindanao. Today marks the 3,678th day since that morning, a monumental day for the relatives of the victims. Ray Pelayo reports.
Ang brutal na pagpatay sa mahigit 30 miyembro ng media sa Maguindanao, kabilang po ang aming 4 na kasamahan dito sa UNTV, ay isang malungkot, masakit at napakalaking dagok po sa aming kalayaan sa pamamahayag.
After the gruesome killing of civilians and journalists in Ampatuan Town, Maguindanao Province on November 23, 2009, UNTV has been reminding the Filipino people of that fateful day.
Eksaktong 1 taon na ngayon makalipas ang malagim na Maguindanao Massacre. Patuloy pa ring humihiling ng katarungan ng mga kaanak ng mga biktima.
1 taon na po ang nakalipas mula nang maganap ang malagim na Maguindanao Massacre.
1,460 araw na po ang nakalipas mula nang maganap ang malagim na Maguindanao Massacre.
Other television stations also did their own upcounts and eventually stopped, but UNTV has carried on. 4 members of the UNTV news team perished.
Para po sa aming mga kasamahan, sina Senior Correspondent Victor Nunez, ang aming cameraman si Macdelbert Ariola, at ang driver po na si Daniel Tiamzon, at ang aming editor na si Jolito Evardo. Saludo po kami sa kanilang naging matapat na paglilingkod at paninindigang magsabi ng katotohanan. Ibalita sa inyo kung ano ang kanilang nakita at narinig.
Mahaba pa ang dadaan ng proseso bago magkaroon ng desisyon sa mga kaso ng Maguindanao Massacre. Maaring umabot pa hanggang dito sa Korte Suprema ang pagtalakay sa mga kaso. Ngunit anuman ang mangyari, maituturing na inhustisya ang bawat araw na naantala ang pagkamit ng katarungan sa mga biktima. Gaya nga ng kasabihan, justice delayed is justice denied.
7 taon na po ang nakalipas mula nang maganap ang malagim na Maguindanao Massacre.
Saktong 8 taon na ang nakalipas mula nang maganap ang Maguindanao Massacre.
3,287 araw. Ngayong araw ay ika-9 na taong paggunita mula nang maganap ang malagim na Maguindanao Massacre. At kahit pa mabagal ang takbo ng hustisya,
3,651 araw o mahigit 9 na taon na po ang nakalipas mula na maganap ang malagim na Maguindanao Massacre.
Mga kababayan, sana ho ay huwag masayang ang sakripisyo ng aming mga kasamahan. At huwag sana silang maging bahagi lang ng kasaysayan na binabalik-balikan, iniiyakan at kung minsan ho ay pinagwawalang bahala.
The prosecution having established the guilt beyond reasonable doubt.
Today is the 3,678th day, a historical and monumental day for the relatives of the victims because after 10 years of waiting and hoping, justice is served finally.
Ilang buhay pa at dugo ang alay upang maligtas ang bayan sa higpitan at karahasan. Ilang buhay pa aking bayan.
So ordered.
Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
And those are the reasons behind the news this December 19, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
They are hereby convicted and sentenced to suffer the penalty of imprisonment of reclusion perpetua without paroles.
We're happy with the decision of the court. We trust that the judge has very extensively examined the evidence, and we trust in her impartiality in the rendition of this very important judgment.
Po natin ito bilang partial victory. Take note po yung adjective na gagamitin po natin. Bakit siya partial? Sapagkat una, hindi lahat ay na-convict. Inaasahan sana natin yung 101 na nililiti sa kasalukuyan, lahat sila ay may conviction.
Doon sa mga convicted na, ilipat na sila doon sa National Medical Prison para i-serve yung kanilang sentence nang wala nang pagtatangi, ano?
Pinaka-worst naman, patayan, yun lang naman tapos na.
Talagang mahirap yung 10 taon na yun dahil ang tagal nun ilang years yun na tiniis na walang conviction pa. So today talagang happy na ako talaga.
Umiyak kami 4 na taga UNTV dahil alam namin na kamit ng asawa namin, ng mga kasama niya yung justice na hinahanap namin.
Ito na yun. Ito na yung justisya na matagal na nating hinihintay. Ito na yung mga sakripisyo ko na ilang taon na pinaglalaban namin.